Most leaders are chasing the scoreboard that's in the boardroom, but the one that ultimately matters the most is sitting at your dinner table. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most challenging topics for me personally in all of business.
Come on, let's go. I don't know what comes next, but I couldn't care less. I refuse to be stressed. There's no fear in my chest. Hear the boom from my stairs. Walk away from the pain I've been through. This feeling I'm feeling is brand new. This is the moment I break through.
Welcome to 10 Minute Masterclass. I'm your host and lead MC, Trey Sheneman. And it's our goal every week on 10 Minute Masterclass to be your weekly mic drop for business breakthrough. Now, the formula for which we try and drive and teach that breakthrough is through educating you in what I call the 4 core drivers of growth: marketing, sales, operations, and leadership. Because no matter when I was trying to scale a startup and take something to market, or running a scale up, running growth inside of a large organization, the big bottlenecks that I always had to overcome in the growth seat could always be connected back to one of those core 4 areas of marketing, sales, ops, or leadership. Now, in today's episode, we're going to get a little more personal than we normally do, and I'm really speaking to the business owners today. If you're a team member here, this can apply to you too, because we all have home life. We all have people that love us. We all have people that really expect more out of us than just what we do professionally. But I want to talk to you today about really a warning that I was given a couple of years ago when I met a gentleman who ended up becoming a mentoring relationship for me. We worked together for a little bit. And him and his partner just run a world-class leadership organization called Lead Every Day. But this leadership lesson that I learned from my friend Randy Gravitt is something that challenges me every time I think about it. And as someone that's building an early stage company now and advising a whole bunch of other companies, that's the service that we sell in our early stage company, and I'm doing it out of my house, and we're right here at home. We're remote. Those lines between the work life and the home life can get really, really blurred. And the scoreboards that we keep for ourselves can get really, really blurred. And Randy, a couple years ago, said to me, and he says this a lot, he's got a book about it, which we're going to talk about here in a second. He said, Trey, if you win at work and you lose at home, I'm pretty sure you still lose. And that's the guiding light kind of leadership principle for today. So if you have never heard of the book Winning Begins at Home, you could go to leadeveryday.com. That's Randy and his partner Mark Miller's brand. And you could find that book, Winning Begins at Home. I'm sure you could get it on Amazon. I haven't looked. We'll put some links for you in the show notes so you guys can find them. You can go read up about Randy. Randy's got a world-class resume. He's been a leadership coach to some of the awesome teams like the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Buffalo Bills, and a lot of people at Chick-fil-A, and many, many other people in the military and business world. And he, kind of the way I would sum up my take on Randy's position, and Randy, if I'm wrong, you can always correct me, but the way that I would sum it up is don't trade success for don't focus on significance instead of on success. And what you do at work might make you successful, but what you do at home is what's going to be that makes you significant. And he really leans into that. So get a copy of the book. In today's lesson, I'm going to kind of walk you through my core takeaways from the book. I would hope that you would still go and read it, because I think it is a must read if you're in any kind of leadership capacity. So definitely for the owners that are on the call, but like I said, for marketing team leaders or sales leads, you should definitely read this book. But here's sort of the 4 principles in the book that really hit me hard, and I'm still processing and trying to make sure that I'm going to be a good steward of what I've learned. But the first kind of overarching principle is that you can't outwork a broken home life. No business win can ever mask the guilt of neglect that you might feel if you sacrifice your home life on the altar of your business life, because ultimately it's our presence as leaders that's the thing that's irreplaceable in our homes. It's our presence. It's our being present. And the idea of winning at work should be nested under winning at home. Winning at work is what helps you drive. Winning at home is the more preeminent goal. It's not the whole work-life balance thing is I've got 100% over there or 100% over here. That stuff's kind of a myth and a mystery to me anyways. At the end of the day, to me, your home life should nest around your work life, meaning you should be trying to deliver at work in a way that does not make work a substitute for your house, because there's not an exit strategy for your kids. There really shouldn't be. There shouldn't be an exit strategy for your wife either, but unfortunately, we live in a world where divorce has become pretty rampant, but you don't turn in quarterly earnings reports, to your wife either. So like the rules of the game are a little bit different at home. I want to make sure that we're playing the long game with that one. The second point that I took away from the book was to be more of a leader, not just a provider. I would say, me included, especially the male role kind of in the house. I'm sure there's plenty of working moms and wives here that listen to the podcast. I would just say in the male DNA, though, we will confuse bringing home a paycheck with being our purpose. I know it's something I struggle with, still at times rears its head even in me. And I think one of the things I took from the book, and I've really in my own prayer life, I'm a person of faith. In my own prayer life, like one of the things that I've been really thinking through is like the idea of providing for my family is way more than financial. It's emotional provision, it's spiritual provision, it's actual financial provision. And more, the greater provision I can give them is connection with me and modeling what a good father relationship, a good husband relationship looks like. It's that emotional side. At the end of the day, like we can't lead our clients better than we lead our own kids and our own homes. So this is a huge part of it. The third thing that I took away from the book was like to have, just in the same way I have rhythms and a schedule and a plan at work, I should have rhythms and a schedule and a plan at home. We do things like weekly one-on-ones and quarterly strategy plannings in a part of our systems at work. But do you have anything like that in your own household? Are you doing things like a monthly family budget meeting? Are you doing things like a monthly calendar or a weekly calendar meeting, with your spouse? Are you doing tech-free connects at dinner time where everybody can be present? Like, what are the rhythms in your family that you can run week in and week out, or month in and month out, and it's actually going to put more life back in your years? Big, huge thing that I'm working on right now, because the premise that I sort of jotted down after reading the book was like, if I scheduled my family life the way that I scheduled my team life, my family would be thriving. And that's something that has been right in the front of my mind here, even more recently. Obviously for those of you who know us personally or have followed our story, follow me on LinkedIn, our son's health has been a little all over the place the last 4 or 5 years. The better way of saying it is we've had a lot of unanswered questions. And here recently, we've started to finally get some answers to those questions and to develop a game plan. And even just being able to have that on the horizon for us as a family is going to allow us to make plans better and to have, more consistency, something to be praying through, something to have hope in. And so, I just want to encourage you to be connected to what's going on in your family in that way and have some rhythms that are built in to make sure that stuff that is going on is surfacing. And then the last thing I would say is like redefine a success story for yourself. This is what I've really been thinking about. It's more about the legacy that you lead rather than it is the plaques that you get or the crystals on your shelf or the accolades that you get at the Christmas party. Even if as like a solopreneur right now, somebody running a business, even more than Harold's legacy, the Sheneman legacy is more important than the Harold legacy. The Harold legacy should just be a chapter in the Sheneman legacy story. It should not be the whole book. And at the end of the day, my kid's last name isn't Harold. It's Sheneman. And that needs to be a name, a badge, a crest that they're happy to wear because of the way that their father loved them and served them. My wife should be proud of that last name. There should be a way that we're doing this. So, your real scoreboard at the end of the day is measured in things like last night, my kids talked to me. They made some game up where I was chasing them around like a bull. I don't even really know what I was doing and what all was happening. My wife videoed it, put it up on Instagram because that's what she does when I'm goofing off with the kids. But my little girl this morning was like, "Dad, thank you so much for playing that crazy game with us last night. We had so much fun." When I woke up yesterday, I had no idea I was going to be playing bull and matador in my house. So just be willing to jump in with your kids. Don't take yourself too seriously. I know we have to take ourselves real seriously at work, but just remember and keep your priorities where they need to be. So I'll give you a quick story. A few years ago, my youngest was having a really hard time at school. Food addiction, being transparent, is something that I've battled my whole life, and it's something that she's been struggling with even at a young age. And so one of the things that I did is I adjusted my schedule to be able to go and have lunch with her in her cafeteria. Now she's homeschooled. We have a lunch date every Tuesday, and we've kept this going now for a couple of years. And it became such a thing that my wife and my son have now raised their hands, and we've worked it into the schedule where I get connection time. I'm thankful for an assistant who also doubles as a nanny, a babysitter for her sometimes. So shout out to you, Brooklyn, who will come over and allow us to be able to have those one-to-one connections. It's like 30 minutes here or there, team, but it makes such a difference in the way that they feel. So I would say figure out how you can adjust your own schedule, maybe in that manner, to make sure that your home team knows that they're the first team instead of your work team. So before you plan your next project, think about the family moments. Think about the things you're putting on the calendar to make sure that you're looking at home. Before you book a flight, book a date night. Before you lead your team, lead your home. Go get Winning Begins at Home on the leadeveryday.com website if you haven't already. Give that book a read. I really think it'll change your life the way that it changed mine. I hope you got something out of today's episode. Leading yourself is the most important kind of leadership. Don't you ever forget it. Until next time, we'll see you on the flip side.